everyone. Welcome to our second car session with Lila Mata. We got a question. What are your suggestions for living a spiritual life as a householder in today's most complicated world?
Yes. First of all, we should get it out of our head that this world is complicated. When we are viewing it, according to the lens we are viewing it through, that's how we see it. And if our minds are complicated, the world becomes very complicated. And there's no way to get out of that complication, because to get out of that complication, we have to get out of the complication of the mind. Yeah?
Okay, do you want to give some suggestions on how they can live
yes, you can very practically. First of all, you try to keep things simple around you. Keep your mind in a very straightforward, simple way of thinking. Simple does not mean just anything. Simple can be very profound. And we will discover that when we start to focus on being simple. Then we will see the deep profundity in simplicity. And that will give us a big push into the spiritual and this beautiful new world we're trying to come to devise, to live in.
Okay. So let's also, because we were talking about this earlier today, about this idea of householder. What does householder really mean? You know, I think in the olden days we had a very defined way, because life was not very complicated in the sense that we had certain rules and divisions of life. We call it the 4 stages of life, right? There's the brahmacharya, there is grahasta, vanaprastha, and then sannyasin, the 4 stages of life we call it, right? And so there was this definition of what each of these stages entailed, right? But you're right. I think in this day and age, it feels like it's become more complicated because there's so many more ways or so many more choices in how we can live and that what's accepted in society as a householder, right? We have people that are married, we have people that are single mothers and fathers, so there's divorce. All of these things have become accepted. And I guess this is what maybe you mean by complicated. There's many people that have chosen not to have children, but are still what you would consider a householder, right? Isn't that still a householder? Mm-hmm. So what is this definition of a householder? Is it just a certain period of life, which in the yogic lifestyle is considered from 25 to about 55, right? That would be considered the householder.
Well, in today's life, we are a householder almost all our life. We don't have that division anymore. We don't go into a state of sannyasa and a state of being a brahmacharya.
Why not?
We don't really live it. We can have that state, but we don't really live it.
I would say I think they're still there. It's just maybe less defined. But yeah, the student life is still from 0 to 25. We're still 0 from infant to 25. Wouldn't you say? I mean, we're still learning. That's still the stage of going to school. Maybe we might not live it in the ways of the yogic lifestyle, which is brahmacharya usually means celibacy and a focus on learning about life, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe in that way, but there's still this sort of loose definition, wouldn't you say? And then,
well, yes, today we have to get accustomed to it, because in today's lifestyle there's that looseness in the definition. We're not being very direct the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, so with that being said, the householder would be considered the grahasta period, which is after you've gone to school, learned maybe a craft, learn a profession, and also hopefully learned a little bit about life.
Right. Yes, yes.
Right? You take that and then you see what you can do with it, right? You go out into the world and you are now tasked with making a life for yourself and maybe for another,
Right.
which is husband or wife, and then when you bring children into that.
That is a basic, very, the heart of the householder's life.
Right. And in that, I think in this day and age, if you're able to define between you and the other person what that means for this unit, if you can clarify that, since the rules are not so defined in this day and age. So I think that's important to do. If you can clarify what that means to the two of you. And I think most people don't do that. They're so in love and so swept away by that feeling that they get married and then sometimes bring children into that story without having a definition of what that should look like or feel like. And I think that's where a lot of the complications come in. And then we can say it becomes a complicated life, right? So I think my suggestion would be to clarify some of those ideas between the two of you so that you can have a more harmonious life, more energy to put towards living a beautiful life with your partner and your children, because you are doing it with the foundation of similar ideas and goals,
Yes,
right?
yes. Mm-hmm.
And this is a spiritual life, right? When you're clear with each other, when you define things in such a way that brings clarity. I think that's the most important thing, is clarity in a situation.
The lifestyle, the way you're living your life, there should be clarity. When we have clarity, when the mind is clear of all the complications of what's happening today, I don't know what he's doing, then we should be away from that. That should also be clarified beforehand. That is, we come to a good foundation of our life.
And the truths that you hold dear to you, right? We all have these truths that we want to live out. And I think that's important. So
Yes.
Communication is the
forefront.
Yeah.
Communication and understanding, when we have a good flow of that communication, we really know what we are each about.